Know your freedom. And the reason, of course, that that's relevant, because the celebration of Juneteenth pertains to the Emancipation Proclamation and slaves
Sorry, I
being
don't listen to
freed.
hip hop.
South Park, that's good. Haven't you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation?
Sorry, I
don't listen to hip hop. The Emancipation Proclamation and slaves being freed on January 1st, 1863, but not finding out that they were free in Texas by way of Galveston until June 19th, 1865.
That's correct.
So certainly a long time to stay in captivity, when that's certainly not the place that was appropriate for these great Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, I think, really an interesting piece too, because it brings up this celebration and idea of really knowing that you were out of bondage.
Yeah, so could you imagine, and this is kind of what I said on Fox this morning about our great-great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents. Could you imagine waking up one day and Union soldiers coming into your town and telling you that you are now free? Nobody owns you anymore. You are now free from bondage. You are now free from slavery. You are now free from chains. You are not entitled to work for anyone for free anymore. And I can't imagine the level of just happiness and jubilation and just the celebration that ensued after that. Apparently, many of them happened in the church.
Yeah.
So everybody went to their church, and there was just a feast, and there was just an epic celebration after finding out that news. And when I think about the empathy that it would take for us to understand what that would feel like, this is kind of what brings us to days like today. And I'm kind of upset about what I've seen from the behavior of many people about days like today. Because this is not about politics. It's really not. This is celebrating American exceptionalism. This is celebrating a group of people, black people, white people, okay, coming together. Hundreds of thousands of people gave their lives, Americans gave their lives to end slavery.
Yes.
President Lincoln was killed behind this. A white Republican was killed behind this. There's other theories about it, I understand.
Yeah, and by the way, this war was about slavery.
This war, don't get it twisted. This was about.
We can call it
slavery.
economics. It's slavery.
It's about slavery by way of economics. You call it what you want, but this is exactly what this war was about.
Yeah.
And so these were white people that actually fought for the rights of people that didn't look like them. So this is an opportunity for us to put all the crap and all the BS aside and say, let's celebrate this as Americans. And what I'm seeing is a lot of sharpshooters and a lot of people, well, this is the actual date of it. Well, really, the Emancipation Day is on January the 1st. And all these people going off instead of just realizing that, hey, this is good for everyone.
Yes.
Americans came together to do the right thing. Can we please put that aside and take a moment to appreciate that?
There's always a turd in the punch bowl.
Yeah, man.
Well, I guess there's not always a turd in the punch bowl.
I hope there's not always,
because
otherwise.
At times there are turds in the punch bowl, which actually that's something I need to look up at some point. Where did that come from?
The Army.
How nasty is that?
Came up in the
Was
Army.
there actually a person that put a turd in the literal punch bowl?
Wrendon, do you know how much Army stuff? Do you know?
So you're saying there was?
So probably.
Probably.
There was a private. Yeah, there was a private that ruined the whole party. Yeah, of course there was. Literally, that happened.
Private bowel movement.
That's right. God.
So you're absolutely right, because there are always people that will find ways to strip us of our joy.
Yes.
And strip us of opportunities for us to come together. Because it's ridiculous. I had a friend who I was talking to the other day. We were talking about Juneteenth. And he made a comment to me. He said, well, that's kind of messed up to celebrate that you hear about something 2.5 years later that pertains to your life, and then just kind of went on that train.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, or we can look at it from the perspective of this is a time of jubilation, and we as a country got to a certain place,
yes,
and there's an opportunity to move on and build from that.
Yes.
There's an opportunity to look at it in a positive light.
Everything is not, you have to poo-poo everything.
That's why it's a holiday.
And by the way, we've been celebrating this in Texas for the last 40 years.
Absolutely.
So we are actually way past due. So we're talking about a Confederate state. Now, geographically, it wasn't necessarily a part of the war. It was a distance away, but it was a Confederate state and a red state today. And we've been celebrating this for the last 40 years. Yeah. So I think it's actually just way past due just to acknowledge it. Absolutely. If we're going to celebrate Columbus Day, if we're going to celebrate President's Day because somebody was a president for the first time, I think it's really neat to celebrate the idea of freeing people after 400 years of bondage and doing it as a country.
Absolutely.
And by the way, the senator that brought this forward, Senator John Cornyn.
Interesting you say that because I got the Wall Street Journal this morning. And you know who was not on the cover of the Wall Street Journal during the signing of this?
Probably John Cornyn.
Senator John Cornyn.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how this works? It's fascinating how this works.
So interesting.
It's interesting.
And this idea of knowing your freedom and knowing even the history behind things that actually happened.
Yes.
Senator John Cornyn, a Republican.
Yes.
He will be lost in the history of this.
Why? Why will he be lost? He's a Republican. He's a 70-year-old white man.
He's got the wrong letter by his name.
He's got the wrong letter. He's the wrong hue. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. He championed this thing.
Yeah. And great on him for doing that.
I'm proud of him for that. And then also, it passed the Senate unanimously.
Sure
so
did.
He championed it, and then everyone voted for it.
So I have a question for you.
This is going to be good. I'm concerned.
As an individual that is going to be running for Congress again.
Yes.
And I'm convinced that you didn't win because they didn't want you to come in and be the best-looking, best-dressed member of Congress.
Look, there's conspiracy theories out there. I'm willing to entertain this.
I'm just going to throw one out there.
I'm going to throw it back to you.
I'm going to throw one out there.
But that may or may not
be. We can't have Wesley Hunt in, not with this bespoke look. No. Telling you. I saw this last night on QAnon's website.
Oh, you did? Is that what you saw?
On the Google machine.
Yeah. On the Book of Faces.
Yeah, on the Book of
Twitter.
The Facebook.
On the Twitter.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting because I go back to my question for you. Unanimous in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, especially in these times.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Very difficult to do. Damn near impossible.
Really is.
Yeah.
Really is. We can't agree on what color the flag can be.
Yeah, I know.
So the fact that this unanimously passes the Senate
says a lot
about where we can be as a country.
Says a lot.
Not where we are, but where we can be as a country.
Says a lot.
So there was a baker's dozen plus one. I'm gonna let you do the math on that.
I got it.
Yeah, you got it?
14.
Yeah, you got that?
Yeah, American dozen plus one.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, you got that? And
see, dozen's 12. American dozen's 13 plus 1.
Yeah. You know,
just breaking it down.
Yeah, got you. So there were that many Republicans in Congress.
Mm-hmm. All Republicans.
Yeah. Who decided to vote against this. So I asked the prospective candidate, Wesley Hunt, would you have voted against this?
No.
Can you elaborate?
It is. I kind of read some of the rationale of some of these 14 men because they were all men.
That's surprising.
That did that. It's like, and we're getting way too smart about this. We're overthinking this. Yeah. At face value, I think it would have been amazing for every single person in Congress to say this. Maybe I don't like the name of it.
Yeah.
Maybe the timing of it is interesting.
Sure.
Maybe I don't like the date. For whatever reason, I got. Maybe I don't like the idea that this is happening in a time that's politically expedient for the Democrat Party. And it is.
Sure.
I understand all that.
Sure.
It doesn't make it the wrong thing to do.
No.
And just like our dad would always tell us, it doesn't matter what time it is. You should never tire of doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It still is the right thing. So all of these arguments that I've read and heard, to me, are a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of crap. We are talking about 13% of the population that allows you and I to sit here right now. Yeah. I'm allowed to marry the person that I'll spend the rest of my life with. You're allowed to be with who you want to be with. I'm allowed to run for Congress. Yeah. We are allowed to be successful. We have earned the right to be successful Americans in this country because of that day. Yeah. And if you vote against that, then you are voting against us sitting here right now. This has nothing to do with party, by the way. It has nothing to do with political affiliation. Either you can agree that this country coming together and ending slavery on whatever day, I got it. It's not your favorite day.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, if you want to poll vote over mouse turds, that's fine. You do you. Okay, that's fine. It still does not excuse the fact that this happened.
Yeah.
And we should be appreciating it.
Absolutely. And in the words of Jay-Z, if you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack.
Sorry. And like I said, I look at that. I look at those 14, and I look at the rationale behind it, and I put my head down. I just say, a lot of their argument is they're talking about, well, this is divisive, and I heard this one. They're trying to replace this with the 4th of July. I'm like, who?
Nobody said that.
What? This is the left trying to replace this with the 4th. No.
No, it's not happening.
It's really not that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all of these ridiculous explanations, and I'm like, you're missing the point of this.
Yeah.
You're missing the point. And then the only thing you're doing is this. You're trying to say that this is going to divide the country even more on this day, and it's the left trying to do that. And I'm like, so by you not voting for it, you're the ones that are actually dividing the country.
Absolutely.
You're literally missing the point.
Yeah.
And I hear all the arguments against it. I'm not saying I fully disagree with some of them. I actually agree with some of them.
Yeah.
But the premise of the holiday and the premise of making it a federal holiday is acknowledging a great day in American history.
Absolutely.
If you don't like critical race theory, let's teach this. Let's bring this holiday and make it a federal holiday and teach our history in a formidable, great, positive way.
Absolutely.
That's the opportunity we have here.
Yeah.
But you mean to tell me that out of 535 congressmen and senators, there's 14 of you that don't get it?
Yeah.
Okay, man.
There's actually one thing that I would love to see happen on Juneteenth. One thing that I think is very important that I hope happens on this holiday. I would hope that the son of our president doesn't use the N-word with impunity on this holiday.
Got him.
Can I?
Got him.
I mean, we're new to celebrating this as a federal holiday. I mean, what am I permitted to request? Like, are there Juneteenth gifts or something?
Yeah.
Because what I'd like to request is a Juneteenth gift.
That our current Democratic president,
our current Democratic president, who's signing this into law, would at least say something about his son using the N-word.
Yeah.
Repeatedly in a disrespectful way.
Whoa.
How about that, man? As a matter of fact, I'm very
Cash me outside. Cash me outside.
I'm very happy that
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? I'm very happy that you signed that legislation.
Yeah.
I really am.
They're handing out pens and handing out pens like they're Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
Yes. But before you signed that legislation,
yeah.
You know what actually probably would have made me as happy as I was seeing that legislation?
Apologizing for your sorry son making those ridiculous comments.
That actually probably would have made me a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Now, and there's another interesting piece that you were touching on with Dad and doing the right thing. There's this piece of when we went to West Point, there was violating the honor code.
Mm-hmm.
A cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do.
Mm-hmm.
There's violating the honor code, but then there was this other amorphous Holy Spirit of the honor code.
Yeah.
Violating the spirit
of the honor code.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, did you lie? No, but he equivocated. It wasn't an exact lie. We didn't put these things set in stone so that people can move around them.
Yeah.
We put them as guidelines so that people can build
to live your life
on them.
Yeah.
We're not trying to inch up to the end of the stage. Yeah. We're trying to make sure that people have a guideline of ethics by which they live their lives. The reason that I bring that up is in this specific piece of legislation and voting on something like this, we're not talking about the different pieces of it that you like and don't like. We're talking about the spirit of what it's doing.
Yeah.
And the spirit of what it's doing is making a step. It's debatable on how big that step is. And once again, I don't think that's important. I just think it's awesome that we can all come together and celebrate.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a step at all. I think it's just it's an acknowledgement.
Yes.
Yes, of a good thing that we've done as a country.
And if the Senate of the United States can come together and say, yeah, this is a pretty good idea.
All of them.
I mean, have you Have you
all of
seen
them.
how different these people are?
All of them. All of them.
If they can come together and say, yeah, this is America, which, oh, by the way, I'm so happy that happened. Like we don't get these small victories very much in this political climate.
No, we
okay.
don't.
So it was really cool to see that. But if they can come together, you mean to tell me that we can't come together as news sources, as people, as citizens?
Yeah. We can't find something.
Really?
Not one thing, not even this.
And I had another person who I was talking to, a friend of mine, and it's always interesting having these conversations because you hear very often when I reference conversations, which you'll notice is not all of my friends think like me.
No, you're not supposed to.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was having
That's what the show's about, right?
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and it goes to this idea of
you
being.
don't got no friends, man.
You don't have friends, man. You ain't got no friends, no.
Quit playing, man. Quit playing.
So it goes to this idea of being perpetual hole pokers.
Yes.
You know what this friend told me? He said, well, Wrendon, I'm not really sure about this holiday. I was like, well, okay. Why aren't you sure about this holiday? He said, because I don't really know how to celebrate it.
Okay.
You do realize that every holiday had a first one, right?
Yes. It's
so you're willing.
Figured out a way.
You're willing to say we shouldn't acknowledge this great feat of American history.
Yes.
Because we can't decide whether we want to eat hot dogs or hamburgers.
It's ridiculous, Wrendon.
You got to be kidding me,
You got to be kidding me, man.
Well, we can't celebrate Juneteenth because we're deciding, do we have strawberry shortcake or peach cobbler? And if we can't come up to the decision of if we have strawberry shortcake or peach cobbler,
it shouldn't be a federal holiday.
It shouldn't be a holiday.
It's stupid.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
This is what you call a layup.
Yeah.
Esun slam dunk.
Yes.
You don't miss this.
No.
I don't care what party you're affiliated with. Don't miss this.
No. And there's a piece of all of this that when we think about our freedom that we have, right? Knowing that we're free.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up something that I love. It's the idea of when we compare ourselves. No, I can't even fathom what it would be like to be a slave
yes.
for the majority of my life and have somebody come and tell me.
At that point, your entire life.
Your whole life.
At that point, your entire life.
For somebody to come and tell me I'm free. We talk about the emotions, right? You say, wow, the jubilation, the joy, the disbelief, the shock and awe. But you know what follows that? The fear.
Yes.
The uncertainty.
Now what?
This is all I know.
Now what?
What am I going to do?
Yes. Even from the slave owner's perspective.
What do we do?
Now what?
What do we do?
And guess what, Wrendon? We figured it out.
Yes.
That's why we're here. By the way, that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't, man.
See, this is why people always take this country for granted. I put this country up against any other country in the world in terms of progress. Any other country of any other civilization of any other time in the history of the world,
including Guardians of the Galaxy.
In the written history of the world. And you tell me what civilization has done what we've done in under 200 years. Are you kidding me?